Boston Glide, finally, he's now 1 for 3. It's a funny horse, Boston Glide. It's a very lazy horse, and it's a very difficult horse for a catch driver to drive, because when you sit behind Boston Glide, he feels like he's going forward. He feels like he's advancing. He's trying. And then when you give him a wallop with the whip, tap him with the whip, he drives forward again and again. And he's very good. He's very elusive as far as a racehorse goes. But that will dissipate. That's just baby stuff. He's very green, still learning. I know 4 weeks ago I had schooled him in 2 minutes, and I really thought he was ready to probably trot in 58 or 59. And James drove him his first start, and he was okay. The line, mathematically, he looked okay. 2 minutes, last quarter in 29. And then he drove him, Jonathan Drury drove him his next start, and again, line looked okay, but virtually unimpressive. And I drove him last night. Now, they went a slow mile. It was very muddy and cold and pouring rain. Went a mile in like 2.6 and a piece off half and 4, but he came first over and run down the horse that win it. So an optimistic way to look at it is he showed some grit and determination to win the race. A pessimistic way to look at it would be he only went in 2.6 and 4. But what I saw on the track was a horse learning to do his work. So I'm sure we're going to have some people that would say it wasn't enough, and other people that say it was. I'm an optimistic person. I was happy, 1, to see the horse win, which is always important, and 2, to see him race good. Here's Amy and Abe. We're all going to breakfast right now. So, come on, all. So, anyway, Boston Glide got the job done last night. Very, very happy. Apparently, Abe is very, very happy with Boston Glide also. And Monday, Broadway Maya won very easily at London. We found a very, very good class. A very, very, very good class for Maya. She's found the condition ranks a little easier than the straight condition ranks, and should be staying in there for the foreseeable future. Broadway Maya was very, very good on Monday. She's back in to go Monday. I'm driving on London, and I assume she'll have a good showing again. It is Easter, so I finally get to sleep in a little bit, and we're gonna go and get some breakfast, go to the car wash. What? Amy's not high on breakfast today. Oh, you guys ate this morning. I may have napped. So I'm gonna head out to the breakfast place, and we're gonna do some more segments of this video. As you can imagine, there's a lot to talk about. Everybody should remember what's coming up is the Mother's Day annual open house. We haven't talked much about it, but it is coming up on May 13th, and it's going to be quite a show, I believe. We are going to have, I don't know what driver, if we're going to have an extra driver come in. I mean, it's very unfair to say we're going to have a special guest. I mean, we've had people come out all year. Brett's come out every week all year, and James comes out every week, and stop. Every week, and it should be a good time. It should be a good time. The horses are training really good right now. I rarely, every day, you're silly. Every day, we can look at horses that are doing well and training well. But yesterday, I think, was our best training session in recent memory. Okay, sit back, guys, and get your seatbelt on. We're going to get going. Anyway, we got lots of racehorses to talk about. And lots of babies to talk about the top 10 or 12 that we had from this week, the 5 mainstays that are always good, and what I thought of the horses yesterday. So we spent about 4 minutes, an intro. I'm going to head down the road. We're going to pick it up and talk about some race horses from this week, and again, some babies coming up. See you later. Let's start with the 5 horses that I would say are mainstays in the stable now. They've solidified themselves week in and week out as being good horses so far, hopefully. Some of our best, put it that way. Maintenance Man has always been our best. The last 2 times he trained, he got beat because he jumped over something. And then yesterday, everybody's like, oh, he got beat fair and square. Well, not really. Maintenance Man hadn't trained a mile in 2 weeks since he got beat last time. He had jumped on that ankle and touched it, and we weren't taking any chances. So every day he jogged lightly, went on the hose, cleaned that leg out. It's very, very good, but I did not want to train him on Wednesday leading into Saturday, so yesterday was his first training trip back, and Danny knew that. and Danny was pretty easy on him, and they were pacing pretty hard on the end of it, and I was trotting pretty hard with Arvika. So Maintenance Man's always been one of our best. Obviously, one of the horses that is catching everybody's eye right now is King of the Ball. He's starting to look really, really good, starting to pace really, really good, starting to look great. Fortunately, they were both beat this week by little Linnea, and I've been telling everybody for weeks and weeks and weeks, keep an eye on this filly. Everybody said, oh, her head's too low, oh, she's too small, oh, she's on a line. I'm going to tell you something. A good horse is a good horse. They come in all different shapes and sizes, and Linnea is a little bit of a tiger. She's bully. She loves to do her work, but she's smart. She's not overly aggressive. She listens. The things we've been teaching all these horses along the way, she's absorbed them all like a sponge. And when Ricky moved her, she moved hard. And when he moved her over to the lane, she fought right to the wire, drove past those horses, held off King of the Ball, you know can fly, and won the training set yesterday. So although I didn't put her in the top 5 yet, because as you know, this top 5 is relegated to horses that week in and week out show that they are very, very good horses. So we've got the Maintenance Man, King of the Ball, White Tiger. White Tiger was fantastic yesterday. My only slight and concern with White Tiger is he touches his elbows sometimes. We're addressing that. We've been successful addressing that in the past. I believe the hobbles were a little too loose on him yesterday, and because of that, Tiger touched his right elbow. We can take the bell boots off him and lighten his shoes. These are things we can do all along the way that will help him stay down out of his elbows. But for right now, all I see is a determined horse that seemingly can go as fast as you need him to go to get where you need to be. In the Amish community, he would be in the fire department. So, White Tiger is a very, very nice horse. So now we have Maintenance Man, we have King of the Ball, we have White Tiger, and which one do you like, Ava, out of those 3?
White Tiger.
White Tiger. I like White Tiger too, because out of those 3, he's the only one I own a piece of with me. So White Tiger, Arvika. Arvika, you know, for the people that are watching, you know why Arvika hasn't obliterated the fields her last 2 training sessions. It's because we put her in an impossible position. We put her in with the best pacers we have in the grounds that are doing very, very good. But I'd said this to everybody. You know, I'll get emails or I'll get calls. People say, why are you putting her in so tough? I don't think you should do that. I appreciate that. Thank you. But there's a reason I'm doing that. She's not going to turn into, you know, the issue we had last year with Cruising in Style, where he wasn't ready to be fully competed with because he's never been beat. So when you put him in a position to fight, you know, to the death, so to speak, tooth and nail, it just wasn't there. And that's hopefully something he'll pick up. We gelded him over the fall, and he's training back great. Hopefully this is something he can overcome. But for me, we can put Arvika back in with the trotters now, and she'll probably do very, very well against them. But I wanted to stretch her out a little bit and put her in a position where it was going to be tough for her to dominate the horses she was with. So Arvika was very, very good also. And Autumn Wings. Autumn Wings continues to impress me. Autumn Wings going out. Still got a couple little holes in her. Bites that right line getting into the turn. Runs over on the right shaft a little bit coming out of the straightaways. But that's just her trying to accelerate faster than she's able to accelerate. Her mind's moving faster than her body. And very, very much both her and King of the Ball responded very well to the equipment we put on them, the headgear we put on them to keep them in check and under rein. Both of them were very polite, did their work very well, were not overly aggressive this week, and listened when I asked them to. So these were things that they had to do. Am I boring you, Ollie?
Now we're very bored except when you say White Tiger.
Oh, really? Well, I'm pretty excited when I say White Tiger, too, so that makes 3 of us. Anyway.
I like White Tiger.
Yeah, me too. So, anyway, those are the 5 horses, I think. You know, there's some that are knocking on the door and some that I could easily put on that list. But those are the 5 that come to mind when I think of 5 horses week in and week out that are good. Those are the 5. So, we'll be back again in a minute. We'll talk about some of the race horses this week, and we'll talk about the training sets of yesterday. I'll have you know I ate my pancakes in the car so I could finish this video up. Anyway, we talked on the drivers showing up for the open house on Mother's Day. Mother's Day. Everybody mark that in your calendar. Mother's Day 2018. We will be having our annual, it seems now, Mother's Day open house at Tomiko Training Center for thestable.ca. It will be catered, and there'll be a chip truck there. It's catering. It will be catered, and it should be a really, really good time. Gee, some of these horses are really impressing me right now, and some of the ones that I told you to keep your eye on. Should have kept your eye on. Linnea, for one. We'll get into that later on. Anyway, over the next few weeks, I'm going to be... everybody in the stable knows that I still have shares left in some horses that I believe are coming forward. Some horses that I believe are going to make nice horses. They just haven't peaked yet. So there's been no rush to sell them. Why would I sell them below cost or at cost after hanging on to them this long? I will be moving some, I do have some racehorse shares. It's funny because maybe people didn't know this, but I do own shares in a number of horses that are 3-year-olds that are racing, 3-year-olds coming back, and horses that are racing right now. And I had a gentleman the other day, he wanted into some racehorse stuff and really sold his shares, some of the shares of his younger horses at a loss almost, to get into some of the racehorses. And I had told him that there's no need to do that, I don't advertise. I feel obligated to work for the buyer and the seller in the stable, and I try to stay as Switzerland-ish if you can. But I do want to make sure our clients feel comfortable. And if you want to get out of your shares in your younger horses, now if they're not working out because they're not working out, that's different. But if they're not working out because you're not comfortable with them right now, or you'd rather have something that's about to race or something that is racing, then I'm sure we can work something out. And that is vice versa also for the babies. I still own a number of baby shares. We will be packaging some shares up for people if they want to get involved with the stable moving forward. And I'll be sending out an email this week. There are some horses in the stable that I own a lot of that I'd rather own smaller amounts of simply because I can't carry the cost. So I'll be looking at selling some shares in them. They're already staked now. Really, nobody has anything to lose unless you simply just don't like the horse. So all that's going on, and we'll get to the racehorses right now. Run through the racehorses pretty quick, what I thought of them this week, what I think of them coming up, and then we'll head into the babies, which was really exciting yesterday. So I'll start with last night's racing. Mystical Mission finished third. It was an okay mile. He hasn't been the Mystical Mission from December and January in March and heading into April, but hopefully he can use these starts to springboard back into the horse he was. I mean, I have to be cognitive and understand that we claimed this horse for 12 off one of the top stables here or anywhere for that matter, and we were really lucky that we got along really well with this horse. But we have to be cognitive of where we got him and what he's going to do. And, if he's not what we need him to be now, we can wait for him to come around, or we can simply put him in where he's going to do. And that'll be a discussion for me and Jason and the client that owns the horse to talk about. But third last night, raced well, certainly nothing to scoff at. And, he's a nice horse. He's proven that. So Mystical Mission raced well last night in a shitty track too. Just horrible. Well, I'll tell you how bad the track was. He was in race 2. After race 5, there had been an hour delay. Well, they had to scrape the track and make sure the truck could get through it, the starting gate could get through it. So, that's what the track was like last night in Ontario. Sally DeVee raced terrible last night. She didn't sculpt that bad, but Jason had said he was going to draw the blood on Sally tomorrow. Something made her race poorly. She doesn't race. She only missed 2 checks in her life, and those were the 2 starts at Woodbine when she was in tough. So Sally DeVee, threw in a clunker. I'm sure we'll get to the bottom of it tomorrow. And again, as we start to race these horses, their situations are very fluid. I was almost in the midst of making plans with our clients and possibly Andrew to send this filly down to start the stake races, and then she throws in a race like a condition claimer. I mean, that's quite a swing, and it's tough sometimes, but you can't be trapped into one position with the horses. If Sally DeVee, if her blood comes back good and she's scoped bad, we're just going to have to find an easier spot for her race, I suppose, until she gets her confidence back up. But I don't know where that came from last night. I haven't seen Sally. Sally was sound, too. Sally's biggest problem is she's always a little weak in her knees. She looked sound last night. Just didn't race that well. So I'm sure we'll get to the bottom of it. I fully suspect that something will pop up in the blood. And as I said, Jason said he'd draw the blood tomorrow morning, and imagine he'll have the results back tomorrow afternoon, and we'll talk about it at that point, I would imagine, with the owners also. So Airway race fantastic again this week. 3 starts this year in 2018, his 3-year-old season, 3 seconds. Beat twice by a horse that was looking to build his confidence and build his career in London, and he certainly looks like he's a nice horse. Forget his name. I forget his name. Anyway, and then Louis Philippe Waugh's horse beat him fair and square the other day. I mean, I just don't think I gave Louis Philippe Waugh's horse enough respect, and he put it on him. You know, he beat me fair and square and beat me good. So Airway was second, raced well. 3 good starts for Paul Johnson, the owner from England. Very, very happy for him. He's going to be visiting here at the end of the month, which we're pretty excited about. We're always happy when our clients visit, whether you live in Markham or Milton or England. Happy to see you stop by, and excited to get to talk to Paul Johnson about his horses also when he's here. Peregrine Blue Chip, a bit of an enigma. We trained her in 2-1 last fall and then turned her out because I just didn't think she was ready. You know, this is a filly. For those of you that pay very close attention, this is a filly we paid into everything last year. Really thought this was a really talented filly, and you know, Tom Grossman showing some incredible patience with us and with the filly. I would imagine it's running low, much like it is with me. But Peregrine trained good yesterday. Jason, I didn't see her train, but Jason came up and said to me, you know, Peregrine Blue Chip was much better today. So I'm not going to give you a time frame. I'm going to say it's somewhere around 3 weeks if she continues to progress the way she is, when she should be ready to go. American League, or the little troll, as I like to call him. Raced good again the other day. You know, he didn't race fantastic. I see he was a little skippy, but ended up second, raced good again. I think he's been first over in every one of his starts for the most part. So he's certainly getting a crash course in his 3-year-old season. But showing some grit, finished up well, passed some horses down lane to be second. I was very, very happy with him. Fan the Flames. Now, Fan the Flames, when you look at horses like Fan the Flames and Boston Glide, Road Tripper, horses that are big horses that need to mature, I can tell you when they're going to be ready for the most part, but I can't tell you when they're going to be ready, when they're going to be matured, when they're going to be ready to give their best outings. That maturity level is something that you just simply cannot predict, and you can't force it. So when you see a horse like Fan the Flames picking up checks and picking away, but you know, not attacking it, like and somebody said, I don't like his attitude. I'm going to give you a little tip. Fan the Flames' attitude is amongst the best in the barn. Horse tries his heart out. He interferes. He touches his up on his jack in the turns. That's why we haven't run him over the half-mile track, because I don't think he get around it very well, even though he trains on one. He gets a little hikey in the turns and trots as hard as he can. James said the horse was great the other night. Just a shitty track, and you know, he didn't race awesome, but he raced okay. And for the people out there, you know, this is why we built the market. You know, for people that I'm not always going to be right. And I try not to be overly optimistic. I'm an optimistic person. I think everybody knows that by now. But I don't think my optimism borders on unrealistic. I think I look at everything going on. I look at the horse and the information in front of me. And I make a decision as one, a trainer that's been in this industry a long time. And two, somebody who drives horses for a living, or did anyway, drive horses for a living for most of my life. So when I look at the horses, I can tell you what I see, but that doesn't necessarily give you an idea of when a horse like Fan the Flames is going to give his best outings. Clearly, that has not been the case. He hasn't been abysmal. The horse was second, and I was going to be second last week before I got run into coming out of the last turn. He was going to be an easy second, hard closing second, and he got run into. Then he had a horrible track. He was all out of gear. He ended up fifth, I think, if I'm not mistaken. He got money, and I thought he raced well. I mean, Road Tripper didn't race that good. He gets shoved all over the track that race. It was terrible, but Fan the Flames raced, I thought, adequate, raced fine. And, you know, for the people out there that own them that don't want them anymore, I think there's people out there that'll buy your shares. And if you just want out because, you know, you just wanted a top Pennsylvania trotter or a good stake horse for Pennsylvania, then he's got some work to do. I'm not going to come on here and tell you, hey, don't worry, he'll be heading down to Pennsylvania soon. No, he won't. He'll be heading to Pennsylvania when he's ready to go to Pennsylvania, and that is not right now. So for the people out there that aren't happy with a good raceway horse, a good overnight horse that has the ability to jump up and be a stake horse at some point, then by all means you can sell your shares, because if I have alluded to the fact that this horse is right now more than what he actually is, I apologize, but I don't think I have. So Fan the Flames, I own shares in Fan the Flames, and I'm very happy with what I see out of Fan the Flames. For the people out there that are disappointed in him, I guess some of that blame lays with me, because it lies with me because maybe I alluded to something that wasn't the case. He's a nice horse. I think he's got the potential to be a much better horse, but that potential is up to him, not me, or Jason, or the other people that drive him. So, for Fan the Flames, I'm hanging on. I'm not concerned with Fan the Flames at all. And if you are, then, as I said, I'm sure there's people out there to be willing to pick up your shares of Fan the Flames, because, as I said, I'm very happy with the colt. Redwood again is going to start this Thursday. A couple of real crappy outings from him. We made some changes. I think Jason had done a little vet work on him, and James trained him yesterday. I didn't get to see him train also yesterday. James was there, and the last time he went really, really good at the schoolers at Woodbine about a month ago, James had gone with him. So Jason come up, and James was standing there, and I was there. I said, why don't you ask James to go with him? He went with him his last time, and he can give you an honest opinion. I mean, I'm well aware that I've seen the horse like Redwood again, up and close and personal for the past 2 years, so maybe I'm a little biased. Maybe I see something that's not there. So I was happy to have James go with him, and I know Jason was, and he said he was good. He said 1 mile 2.3, come 29 seconds. He was good. So I think he had suggested some equipment changes to Jason. I saw them talking, but to be honest, I can't remember what they were. So I would imagine his next start will be at Flamborough again. He's another horse that has incredible potential, but has to see that through. And there's not much you can do to make that happen. So Redwood's coming. He's there. He raced well, 2 starts at Woodbine. He raced poorly, 1 start at Woodbine, and poorly 1 start at Flamborough. So I guess this will be the rubber match, if you will, coming up this week. Zeppelin B qualified terrible. Scoped him sick. Lost a little bit of weight, too. So I'd asked Jason, and I do own a big chunk of this colt, I'd asked Jason to maybe put him on some stuff for his guts, because it looked like he was a little woody looking still. He did this last year, too. And maybe just wait until he's completely over his sickness before we push him at all. And I believe that's the case. So I don't know if he's going to race this week or next week, but there's nothing wrong with Zeppelin. The only problem is the Hackett in Ohio is coming up. Both him and Windchaser were ready. Both experienced hurdles with sickness, and both are on the bubble of whether we're going to actually take them to the Hackett at all. So Zeppelin B will be ready next week. This is absolutely no problem with him. Just want to make sure we get it right now. Aside from the Hackett, it's a whole year full of stake races for this horse. There's no rush, and I'm not going to put him in a bad position, and I wouldn't let anybody else put him in a bad position for the sake of a crappy little stake leading into the stake series. So Zeppelin B will be ready to go hopefully next weekend, maybe. Conway Holiday, race good again. Race good again on Friday. Finished 3rd or 4th. Came first over against Off Broadway. Off Broadway, we sold him right after the next day after the race. As I said, it's very frustrating to have something like that happen, because Off Broadway was one of our best bred horses and is a gorgeous animal. Just doesn't have that eye of the tiger. And I'm sure he'll make a really good raceway horse for somebody, and wouldn't surprise me if he took a really good mark at 4 or 5. But we can't hang on to him till then. So we sold Off Broadway Saturday morning. Conway Holiday come first over against him and raced well the other night. There's a horse that continues to get better slowly. I don't think he's a great horse. I own half of him with a client in London, and it's been a process. I think a real slow process for Derek, but I see the horse making some gains and doing better, and I think he's a horse where he reminds me a little bit, not gait wise or anything, just the trajectory, if you will, of a horse like Leroy's Dream, who just qualified the other day, by the way, back after an injury. And Leroy's Dream was very slow out of the gate at 2 and 3, And now he turned into a really nice horse last year at 3, and then into his 4-year-old season, and then got injured at the end of some point last year, and he's just ready to go now again. So same type of trajectory. I think just constant repetition, races and races and races will get him on track. And he's shown some speed. He's shown some go. I'd be very surprised if you don't see him in the winner's circle in the next few weeks. I thought the hobbles were a little tight on him the other day pulling up. I was talking with Robert Shepard, and he said, yeah, I think they're a little tight still too. So he had told Jason, and I think he'll probably be letting them out for his next race. So Conway Holiday was good. Broadway Maya's been fantastic. It's funny, she's almost the perfect type of horse. She's not quite good enough for the condition races, and she appears to manhandle the claimers. Now, she's almost out of that class. So you're only going to see her, I think, do very well in that field for a few more starts. Some of our clients have asked about putting her in the Meadowlands sale in April, which might make sense. Might be a smart business decision. So I think after Monday we'll make a decision what we're going to do with her. But she's been racing really well. Won 3 of her last 4, racing really well. So I expect her to do well again on Monday. McKinnon. There's a horse that won his first lifetime start. Beat Redwood again when Redwood looked like a much better horse. Beat Redwood again. Went to Ohio. I came first over and finished second in 55. Looked like he was going to be okay. Now he just seems okay. And we put him in condition claimer on Wednesday, I think Tuesday or Wednesday. First time ever for him. And, they're real simple. We can talk about what they can do, what they should do, what they might do. But when they get to the races, all we can talk about is what they are doing. And McKinnon qualified okay, schooled okay. His first start wasn't really fair. They went like 57 and then another 16th of a mile. And, you throw that out. He was a little bit sick after that race too. I schooled him for Jason the other day and just kind of there. He went a mile like 58 or 59, but present. So, Jason had said after, what do you think? And I said, I don't own any of McKinnon. It's not my ball, if you will. And I said, but I would think that most people would want the horses in where they can win every week. He said, well, where do you think he can win? I said, condition claimer. So he put him in the condition claimer on Tuesday or Wednesday. That'll be his first start in a claimer. Hopefully he'll use it as a springboard back into the condition ranks. But man, oh man, he's a frustrating little animal sometimes. Not literally, big horse. Frustrating animal sometimes. So I don't know. We'll see how he races on Tuesday or Wednesday in London. But I expect he'll be good. Buckeye Babe, schooled her the other day. The track was horrible. It rained the night before. They left the track open, and none of the qualifiers went very good, and she couldn't get over the track at all. She made a break leaving the gate, and I just pulled her up and went back to the paddock, and I said, we're not doing this today. So I don't think there's many changes to be made. I watched them train her in 2.7 at Tamiko. She looked like a freight train. So for me, I don't think there's any issues with Buckeye Babe, but I think she was having some real issues with the track the other day. So again, we'll try it again this week. I guess it pushes her back another week, but I'm certainly not concerned. Buckeye Babe has always shown that she wants to be a racehorse. So Buckeye Babe will be ready to go in another week. Real Willie schooled fantastic 3 weeks ago. Qualified a little bit flat. Scoped him after same day we scoped Zeppelin B. Both were the same. Both beside each other, I think, in the burn, if I'm not mistaken. Both were sick. So I didn't ask Jason how Willie was this week. I assume he's fine. I think we're going to train him. He had mentioned last week about training him the first part of this week. So that's probably what we're going to do. Promise Blue Chip. Trained her on, what day is today? Today's Sunday. Must have trained her around Wednesday morning at Mohawk. Trained her in 59, but she seemed a little flat. And I told Jason after, I said, she didn't seem to have that fifth gear, when you tap her on the tail and she just wants to bolt through her harness. I didn't see that. And then I went and qualified in school all those horses Thursday, and they all look the same way. And I think the track, you have to understand when you go back to Mohawk, they got the track so deep there, and it takes like 3 weeks of pounding on it to settle it down, and it's just terrible. It's horrible right now, and maybe that was the reason she seemed a little like she was working hard through a surface that I didn't think she should. but it easily could have been the track. So I would imagine she'll be in to go this week. Sound, looked good, wasn't on a line, so those are all good things. We'll see how she behaves this week. What else do we got? Wind Chaser. I had to scratch him the other night. He was sick. Jason came up and saw me at the barn. We were going with the babies on Wednesday morning. He said, Wind Chaser's sick. You got to scratch him. I mean, you can't race him sick. So I imagine he'll be in to go this week. He has to wait 7 clear days, so he can't race Thursday night. They don't write the class Friday, so you might either see him on the B tracks this week, or I think they write the maiden back Monday. So I haven't talked to Jason all about it, and I imagine we'll probably speak about it today at some point. Rose Run Speedster finished 5th in London, got away 6th, but he was coming off a break. I was being really protective with him, and half-mile track's not his forte. And the 25 claimer didn't fill. Hopefully it fills this week. We can get this horse raced and back on a regular schedule every week. Boston Glide. Obviously, Boston Glide won last night. Fantastic. Not a fast mile, but a horrible night. A horrible night. You know, you have to show some determination to plow through a track. If they give it 3 seconds, it probably could be given 4 or 5. Like, it was horrible, and it rained all night. Just a really messy situation. You know, I could even, you know, if Jason had warmed him up and said, listen, I don't want to race this colt on this track, probably would have scratched him. So it was close to being a track that we wouldn't want to race a horse on. Now, I know he's sound today and he's fine today, so it's all good, but I know that was a concern heading into the race. Road Tripper come up a little bit sick after his last race. He gets shoved all over the track. Here's a horse that left to the front out of the 10 hole and then didn't want to follow the gate out of the 4 hole the other night. So, you know, do the math. I was all but ready to cross him over to the front, try and control the race and win the race, and he didn't even want to get out of there. So he'll be back to himself, I'd say, within the week. He's a pretty tough horse. Pay the Line Blue Chip, a little bit of a controversy the other night. 2 weeks ago, I got away in the 2 hole, got locked in, never got out, never got to race her. She finished 2nd. Not something you really want to do, especially when you're racing in condition claimers. The last thing you want to do is have them locked in when they're supposed to be racing well. So I had the rail, and I pushed through, albeit with my front feet. There wasn't a lot of room left that wasn't taken up by the other horse. And, you know, I thought I was pretty insistent on being on the front end. And the other driver, who was Alfie Carroll, who's an extremely good driver in his own right, probably one of the most underrated drivers around, he wanted the front also, and we duked it out over the quarter in 27-3, which is an insane first fraction at London, especially in a small 5-horse field. He did relent, got in the 2 hole, and finished way back, but I did get beat. So I was 7-5 or 3-5 or something, and I got beat. Robert Shepard beat me at the 5-2 second choice, and there's no hard feelings. I mean, people say, "Oh, Alfie drove like an idiot," or "I drove like an idiot." You know, it's easy to look back after a race and say, "Oh, you should have let him go and see if he could remove." Well, there was no removing. He wanted the front just as bad as I did. Where I got landed down is where I was going to stay for the foreseeable time being. And the last thing you want to do is move first over to the 2 hole. I certainly don't. So I would have rather race for the front end and control the race. And to be honest, as I was getting to the quarter pole, I knew we were going fast fraction. And I still didn't think I could get beat. So maybe I gave the filly too much respect. Maybe she doesn't like the front end. Maybe she was sick, or maybe she just raced so-so and I drove her so-so. But either way, she got beat. The good news is I'm the 97% owner of Pay the Line Blue Chip. I slept just fine. You know, $1,000 a week's not the end of the world. You know, it's not going to put my kids in college, but at the same time, you're still writing with a black pen, if you will. And I was pretty happy with the way, with the money she made. I wasn't happy with the race. I wasn't happy with the way it worked out. I wasn't happy with the way I drove her. I wasn't happy with anything other than the fact that they're going to mail us a check for $1,000. So we're getting paid. Meadowbrook Charlie made a break at the gate last night. Very upset to see that happen. This colt, you know, he's really fast, this horse, and he's starting to look much better, but he's just not. He's not putting out the same way. So raced well, 2 starts ago in the 25. I guess we're gonna have to put him back in there. Not happy with what I saw last night. I couldn't make it. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I was supposed to book off the 6th at Flamborough, after the 6th at Flamborough, which was Boston Glide, Sally DeVee, leave and go drive Meadowbrook Charlie and Kennebromac I was down to drive. Instead, I left myself on till the 8th, which mathematically it was impossible for me to get to Woodbine, and I went home. Then they had a delay. I really could have made it with the delay factored in, but anyway, it was just a bad night. So Charlie made a little break. I have to make a few more little adjustments, I think. I know that Kevin had wanted to make some changes with him the other day, and we didn't because he'd raced well. I think it's time to maybe look at making a few little shoeing adjustments in him. Him and I will talk about that tonight, I'm sure. Stonebridge Hall, back training for those of you who own pieces of him. I know you've been very patient, and I know we are way past our line of when I thought he'd be back to the races. But as I said before, we want to make sure we get it right. And he's right now, he's training good. I have to take a horse up to get looked at and floor scoped this week. I think that would be a good time to put Stonebridge Hall on the trailer, and I believe once and for all, scan that suspensory left hind, and I would imagine we'll get green lights across the board, in which case we'll continue training him, probably train him 3 or 4 more times and put him into school. Off-Broadway sold him, as I said, just too many bad trips. You know, he had no excuses the other night. You know, Kevin did a great job with the horse. He was trotting okay. He just doesn't have the desire, and he doesn't want to learn, and he's hot when he shouldn't be and quiet when he shouldn't be, and just enough's enough. And, you know, the owners I'd talked to a number of times with them about this colt, and finally we just have to close the book and turn the page and move on. So Off-Broadway was sold Saturday morning. He's gone. Dancing at Midland schooled well on Thursday. Very happy with what I saw. I think you'll see him in to go at Woodbine Thursday. I don't know when they're back at Mohawk, soon I think, but he'll be back in at Woodbine or Mohawk, whenever it is, Thursday, I would imagine. Very happy with what I saw. Still got the speed and the grit and the determination. Just a nice colt. So you'll see him race this week. Tortola Sunrise will be back in to go this week also. He had, I assume he got cast or whatever he did. He bruised his leg up high, right where he touches there on that boot anyway. So not something you want to play around with an older horse. Did it right, took his time, and he'll be back in to go this week. Master Saver, he almost left on Saturday too. He trained really well on Saturday. So I own a big chunk of that colt, and a couple other people do. And I had said to Kevin after he trained, I said, he trained well. I'm happy to see him train well. He'd want to do it twice in a row, because if he doesn't train well next week, or he's not in to go next week, then we're going to have to look at selling him also. So I like Master Saver. I think he's a tough, gritty horse, but got to get a move on. Got to get moving. Now is not the time of year to be slacking or making breaks or not doing your work. So he's got a 1-week reprieve, if you will. Delmar J raced tough again last night. Seemed a little pinchy to me. I didn't talk to Brett or Kevin after the race, but when I watched the video, I thought he looked a little pinchy. So I don't really know what's going on there. The track was horrible too, so we should I would imagine, take a look at the horse and make sure he's okay. He seemed fine jogging. I saw him a couple of times on the track this week when I was going with the babies, and looked fine to me. But again, usually on Sundays I have a talk with either over text or on the phone with both Kevin and Jason, just to see what's up this week and where we're headed and what's going on. And I imagine Delmar J will come up. Happy Holidays is training back. She should be back ready to go, I would assume, in a few weeks. Looks good. Here's a filly, a rare filly that she doesn't seem to like the corks, doesn't seem to like the winter. Just turned into a different horse, you know. Last spring when we got her, I kept her going. She took off, you know. Set the track record at Flamborough, raced great all summer, and then corks went back on in the winter, and she turned into a mediocre animal. And she could have been tired, but either way, she got some time off, and she should be ready to go again in a few weeks. Leroy's Dream, Big Leroy's back, qualified. Qualified slow the other day, 2-3 at Mohawk, but he's ready to go much more, I think. So he'll be in to go this week somewhere this week in Ontario. Lawmaker, for those of you who watch Facebook, Lawmaker trained fantastic this week. Trained him in 2 minutes at the farm, 2 minutes and a bit. Looked great. Showed a little blurb, a little clip of him training on Facebook. Man, oh man, he's a powerhouse. And I had said the caption above it was, you know, you're having a bad week, just sit behind a good horse. It'll bring a smile to your face. And He does. He looked awesome. Canale Hanover, I trained him yesterday in 2.4, come a half in 59 seconds at the farm track. He looked good also. Cruising in style is a little bit slower. He was in 2.10 in the jog cart the day before. I'll take him over to Mohawk, probably train him in 2.2 or 2.1 this week. Those horses are 2 to 3 weeks out, depending on sickness, health, everything else. But look good. All three of them look great. So our 3 biggest colts from last year look like they're coming back really, really well. So that does it for the racehorses. I will switch into the babies. We talked about the barn leaders. I'll run them through you again. King of the Ball, Maintenance Man, White Tiger, Avica, and Autumn Wings. All 5 seem to be our foundation so far. A lot of horses knocking on the door. A lot of babies looking good, especially after yesterday. I said this before. I'll say it again. Yesterday, I think, was probably, well, definitely, put it this way, our best training session in this lot. So of 2017, 2018, up until today, our best training session was yesterday. Virtually everybody looked good. Couple of minor miscues. James got jammed up a bit with Friggin' Biggin and made a break. I put Casanova's Jewel in a little tight to Danny in the last turn. I think his splint was bothering him anyway, that colt, but either way, no excuses. He made a little break, but you could see the maturity in the way he's training now. He's doing things when he's asked to do them and waiting until he's called on, and I was really happy with what I've seen with him. Bay Jewel grabbed a shoe. I didn't realize it until I was talking to Amy this morning. She said that Chris said her shoe was bent. You could see where it was. She had grabbed the corner of it and twisted it. You don't see that very often with trotters, but I would assume that's why she made a break. So very few miscues yesterday, but a lot of good-looking horses. I am going to run through the biggest mover of the week. I'm going to run through the top 10, which turned into the top 12, and then I'll talk about all the other babies. So we got through Mother's Day announcement. Obviously, we got through talking about some shares and some emails that are going to be going out this week. We got through the racehorses. Boston Glide's win, Maya's win. Now we come to the babies. We also get through the top 5. Top 10, I think. You know what? We'll talk about the top 10 first. So it turned into the top 12. Top 10 are horses that I think impressed me this week. Now, when you look at horses that are impressive, again, I'm not going to talk to you about King of the Ball or Maintenance Man or any of the horses we put in the top 5 because they're good every week. They're supposed to be good every week. They're not going to make the top 10 or 12 because they're above the top 10 or 12. These top 10 or 12 are horses that I believe impressed me yesterday. These were horses that I thought did a great job yesterday. So we'll start with, I'll save the best to last. Oh, there's the easiest, biggest mover of the week. Save that one to last. Screaming Hawk. Screaming Hawk looked great yesterday. I know the owners have been a little impatient because he was acting up and making breaks, both him and Casanova's Jewel. And I had talked to them and said, listen, these horses have talent. They just need to be polished up. I couldn't go with them every week, but I went with them all last week. And you can clearly see the difference in both of them. And Curious Winner yesterday. They had their head on straight. They were working. Sure, Casanova's Jewel made a little break. I'm not going to say that's his fault. I was happy with what I've seen with Casanova's Jewel because he understands it now. You can tell, like, before, if you tried to slow him down, he'd fight with you. You could never stop him on the track. And yesterday, the hobble strap, you'll see me change the hobbles sometimes. If you're in attendance, you'll see me change the hobbles sometimes on the track. You can reach up and move the holes. And his was too far up. I couldn't reach it. I literally stopped him on the track, stood him, got off the jog cart, changed the hobbles, and let him jog on. You can never do that with that horse before. He's really starting to understand what his role is and how to do it. Screaming Hawk was fantastic in the fact that he was powerful yesterday. Still, you could see the Angus Hall come out in him a couple of times when I got in a little bit of trouble with him there when Majesty Boy came first over, and I just couldn't let him go. He was too crazy. So he's not uncontrollable, but as you can imagine, if you fight with him, he's going to fight back, and that's when you get in trouble. So I was happy that Warwee Ultra got to drop down in front of him in the last turn, and then I was able to remove. At least he relaxed that far enough. So just you got to keep working with him. Got to keep polishing him. Screaming Hawk looked awesome yesterday. Time Tulo, always quietly one of our best horses, looked fantastic again yesterday. I don't think I was going to beat him with Casanova's Jewel. I was going to give him a little scare. but I wasn't going to beat him in my first overbid, and Timo Tula looked great yesterday. Very, very good. War We Ultra, we joked about it, that if I don't go with her, she usually runs. This is 2 weeks in a row. 10 days in a row, other people have gone with her, and she was good. Harry went with her yesterday. She was very good, running in a little bit. Needs a little bit sharper pole. Not a big deal. Timo Houdini, wow. Where'd he come from? Well, I know where he came from. He's always been a good horse, but Timo Houdini was powerful yesterday. Him and White Tiger looked tremendous. Tremendous in their training yesterday. Timo Houdini, he really figured it out I didn't know. I said, he's big and lazy, and we're just gonna, try and chip away at that exterior until we get to the horse we need him to be. And he got there all on his own. So the horse that showed up yesterday, Timo Houdini and Brett looked fantastic yesterday. Stolen Dance. Trained her twice last week, 225 and 222. Stolen Dance is just I keep talking her up, and I got to hold on. I got to bite my tongue sometimes, because horses that overcome issues garner my respect really quick. And she has overcome some issues. She's got really, she stands off, she brushes a knee, but man, when she's going, she's such a pretty horse, and strong. Maturity-wise, though, she's got a long way to go. She's fast, she knows how to do it, but to sit and move, she's not there yet. So we're going to have to work on her with that, but great outing. I would say I won't give her the most improved horse, because I think somebody deserves that easily, but a considerable improvement considering how she looked in the past, and you can really see her progression as a horse and as a racehorse. So really happy with what I've seen from Stolen Dance. Just a tad. I've said this over and over again, and he's made mistakes and been in the mix, but he's quietly one of our best horses. He is a big, powerful colt, and James went with him yesterday, and even he said, this is a serious animal. He's a nice colt, and you can tell he's a nice horse just with his demeanor, the way he gets over the ground. He accelerates quickly and powerfully. He's just a nice horse. Ready for the Beach. You guys didn't get to see it, but Ready for the Beach was wrapped up the entire way. Brett was swinging on him, finishing up his mile, and Ready for the Beach looked fantastic yesterday. Almost our biggest mover. And also almost our biggest mover is Final Answer, although he was in a slower group and I just sat outside. You can see his gait, how much better it is. And then the only thing I watched, I don't even know how fast we went the 1.5 mile speed. I would say we're going 45, 40 speed. But after the mile, I clicked my watch. I went 1 quarter in 33 seconds with that colt from after the drone finished up into the turn and down the stretch. If you watch the end of the video, the very end of the video, that horse is flying after the mile. His ears up and all business. Exactly what I wanted to see from Final Answer, and yesterday's trip, I would assume, did him the world of good. Cash in on me. All the shit talkers out there are talking about cash in on me, selling your shares for nothing. I don't have a dime. I don't own a share in cash in on me. So when you people hear me talking about cash in on me, it isn't because I'm hopeful or optimistic, because I own shares and I don't own any of it cash in on me. But I trained him on Wednesday in 223. And then he trained again yesterday and looked great again yesterday. Sure, you can still see he's a little rough around the edges. When he's switching gears, you can see he puts a step in. Never missed a beat, though. Cash in on me was great yesterday. And although I said he might not make the June races, I'm not so sure now. So Cash in on me was very, very impressive to me yesterday. Be My Delight came first over, right beside me with Autumn Wings finishing up. Looked awesome. I had gone with this filly on Wednesday and thought she was great. She had got cast a couple of weeks ago, and she put a couple of steps in right hind a couple of times in the training mile. I went with her, and when we came in, I went over her, and her right hind muscle was tight as a bugger. Left was perfect, right was tight, and I think when she got cast, she might have just strained a muscle. And we had been working on that all week, and yesterday she never put a ripple in. She looked great. Curious Winner, you guys might say Curious Winner was okay, but he still made a break. The only reason Curious Winner made a break was because I was trying to slow him down in the last turn. I may have had my mic on and said something I shouldn't have said, but I was as mad at it myself as I was Curious Winner, because at that point he wasn't relenting. He just wanted to explode through the turn and drive away, which I love. I love the enthusiasm. But he didn't get it his own way, and he kind of got a little pacey and made a break in the last turn, which annoyed me. But make no mistake, Curious Winner could easily be our fastest horse right now, the way he looks on the track. He was explosive yesterday, and I was really, really happy with what I saw there. The top mover in the week, by far, bar none, is Linnea. And I had told everybody months ago, watch this filly, you know, she was sore on her left knee was bothering her. We put a pad on her left front foot. We ducked her in some slower groups and let her progress slowly, kept her covered up. And then she started coming off that line. She started getting, now she didn't need the head pull or the Murphy blind to go slow mile. She had it on yesterday, but who'd she beat yesterday? She's just the best horses we have. That's all. You know, that's who she beat. So for me, here's an Ontario sired filly. She's paid into the OSS in the Battle of the Bells. Just modestly staked because she is a nice little filly and there's lots of money here in Ontario, but she just beat up on everybody and looked good doing it. Looked real good doing it. So for me, the little sports writer filly was the most impressive horse on the track yesterday. And realistically, she was. You can factor in the other 5. She was still the most impressive horse training yesterday. So Linnea got top marks. Very impressed with the way this filly looked. Very optimistic about the future for Linnea. She's a small to medium-sized horse that can already pace really fast. Now it's just a matter of keeping her sound. Speed clearly is no issue. So obviously it's an issue at some point for everybody. But for her, she was awesome yesterday. Probably come 33, 34 seconds on the end of it. Very, very happy with her. So now we'll start with the rest. And not to say anything wrong with the rest, because there was a lot of good horses. I have ticks, little check marks beside about 22 horses here, which made up my top 5, top 12, and then we had to leave some off. So Antigua Deal showed a little life yesterday. I told Brett when she went out, I said, this is our most expensive horse. I want her to start paying attention and waking up. We've been kind of ducking her and moving her into blind switches and, you know, being gentle with her. And I said to Brett, it's time to work. Get her to work and spark her up. And he did yesterday. He moved her 2 times. She was a little tired on the end of the mile, but it's the first time she'd ever been moved and worked that hard. I think you'll see a dramatic improvement between now and the next 2 weeks with Antigua Dio. And very happy with what I saw with her yesterday. Doesn't wear a pole, doesn't wear a boot. Pace is nice. She's starting to get it now. And I think the next 2 weeks under some hard labor, if you will, you'll see a dramatic improvement in Antigua Dio. Arvika was good again yesterday. As I said, a little bit of a humbling exercise for her, but behavioral-wise, she understood her job. She sat quietly at the back. She moved when I asked her to. I was a little conservative with her in the turns. Obviously, we wanted to keep her flat the whole way, and we did. Finished up well. Looked good. So Arvika was good again yesterday. Autumn Wings was great again yesterday. Little bit on the right line, getting into the turns and carrying out a little bit, coming out of the turns into the straightaways. I'd like to see this dissipate a little bit. She's doing well. She trains good every week. Now she's starting to get it. If you look, she was much more manageable. Geez, 2 or 3 weeks ago, 2 or 3 sessions ago, she was completely crazy. And now I got a snake cord in her mouth. She's much more behaved. Very happy with her. Bay Jewel, as I said earlier, hooked a shoe training. I didn't realize it until I was told about it this morning that her back of her shoe was bent. So you have the shoe and then the corners at the back. Now you try not to have those corners stick out, especially on pacers, because if they crossfire, they'll grab that corner of the shoe. Well, that trotter, very rarely you'll see a trotter grab a shoe, but clearly she did because it was bent. There was some torque put into bending it. So I would suggest she probably grabbed that shoe when she made a break. Otherwise, James said she was fine. Be My Delight touched on her in the top 12. Was awesome yesterday. First over, just a really quiet filly that does her work very, very well. Boldness, better. Still clicking and clacking, but better. He's got a lot of work to do. And I think everybody knows that. But at the same time, these are babies. They're going to take time. They're going to mature at different times. And if this is how he's going to look in 30 days, then I think maybe we might turn him out for the summer. You know, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, there's lots and lots of very, very, very good 3-year-olds that didn't race at 2 or didn't race till late in their 2-year-old years. So obviously I'm not naive. We'll be compiling a list of horses that may or may not make it through the spring and the summer. And Boldness is obviously going to be a horse that potentially could make that list. But trained yesterday, you know, he's understanding what his job is. Just needs the opportunity to do a job better. Mentally, he's already there. So that's a bonus. Buckingham made a little break, very uncharacteristic of her. She jumped on her foot in the second turn, come up pacing, and finished up really, really strong in the middle of the pack. So I didn't realize how well she trained until I myself watched the video. Ricky said she was good, but, you know, she was good could mean a number of things, and she actually was good. I watched the video and very, very happy with her. Always happy with Buckingham. Captain Miraculous trains better and better every week. I just watched him go on the track the other day. He's actually getting fat. Actually looks good, the big colt. So he's got some foot issues. We wear bar shoes on him, but don't seem to be bothering him anymore. The horse hasn't taken a lame step in weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. So the Captain Treacherous colt looked good yesterday. Harry was very happy with him. He finished up really well. So very, very happy about him. One of these weeks I might sneak him over to Mohawk also and train him and see how he feels. We've already had Dancing on My Own over there twice. Holding Steady was over there, and tomorrow's Headline was over there. Cash in on me. Almost the most improved horse of the week. Only I see him progression every week out of this colt. He jumped forward yesterday, trained very strong this week. Here's a horse that I told everybody to wait with, take your time. I don't know if he's going to qualify in June, but he'll get there. I might be wrong. He may qualify actually in June, and very, very happy with what I saw yesterday. This horse is really maturing both physically and mentally, and at an increasingly good rate. You know, if you look at his video at any point up until yesterday, it was always, he looks okay. There might be something there. Yesterday he looked good. So happy with Cash In on Me yesterday. Cruising with Angus, completely transformed from a flabby little colt that wasn't sure if he wanted to do his work into a very strong, focused gelding that is fast. This colt, if you look at his videos, he went from really running in horribly all along till I watched the video yesterday. Now, I didn't talk to Danny after the session about him specifically, but I watched the video. This colt's not running in near as bad as he was. He's obviously getting sounder and stronger, so good for him. Very happy to see Cruising and Angus do well. Casanova's Jewel, I touched on him in the top 12. Totally different horse now than he was 2 weeks ago. He might be making breaks, but they're in different ways and for different reasons. The only reason this colt made a break yesterday is he was trying to accelerate just a little too quick. He just needed to square himself up before he came out of the turn to power out of the turn, and he didn't. He just skipped a step, if you will, and it cost him a little break, but he didn't want to. He wasn't looking to break. It was just a mistake he made, and a mistake I let him make. So other than that, he was very, very good. Dance Hall Babe was horrible yesterday on the video, but trained fantastic Wednesday. Now, Felix Marion's our blacksmith, and he owns a third of this filly. He was there yesterday. He said, geez, you should go with your filly. He got onto the track a little late with her. He said he only got 2 laps into her before he trained, and she's an Angus Hall, and I think she might have taken advantage of him maybe a little bit. And advantage of the situation. I didn't know that she'd only gone 2 laps. Usually we like to go 3 or 4. For a horse like her, 5. Probably want to tire them out a little bit before you train them. And you can see she was full of piss and vinegar, if you will, by the time she turned. And she never really did settle until after the mile. And I know what I saw on Wednesday. I've been saying, keep your eye on this filly, and I'll continue to say it because she has got an abundance of talent. She's not usually goofy. I think she was just, as I said, taking advantage of the situation as a whole and made a break. But that won't happen next time. Dancing on My Own's been going to Mohawk on Thursday mornings and trained fantastic in 220 at Mohawk on Thursday. Come back Saturday, which is a little close, just the way it is. Come back Saturday, and that's why we keep putting her in a slower set on Saturdays, because I don't want to be hard on her. No harder than I need to be. And James said she had a little more life to her, a little more pop, finished up on a helmet, had some want to go to her. So that's what we've been looking for. I think she can build on that, and I think she's been building on that. Very happy with what I've seen in Dancing My Own, and very happy with what I saw yesterday. Delcrest Star Angel, almost the biggest mover of the week. She's made lots of breaks just because she's way, way, way behind everybody else. She had to wait in her stall. She was sick. She couldn't get the OCDs out of her hock. So she stood in the stall waiting for the operation, went to the university. They didn't feel comfortable operating on her because she had a lot of discharge from her nose. So they sent her back home. She had to wait again in the stall for another 2 weeks, then went back up, had the OCDs, then stood in the stall another 2 weeks after the surgery. So you're looking at 2 months in the stall. This filly is way behind everybody else. didn't look that bad yesterday. Looked good, trotted the whole mile, showed some spunk, showed some speed, intelligence, understanding. These are the things we want to see from these horses. So mentally, she's every bit as close as anybody, really, somehow. Physically, she's nowhere close. So you're not going to see her race until September. We paid her into the OSS and one big stake race at the end of the year. That's what we're aiming for. So hopefully we see Delcrest Star Angel in September. It would be great. Very, very happy with her. Final answer. I didn't give him the biggest mover. I had him circled because I was giving him the biggest mover, but I gave it to Linnea. It's only fair. But final answer, if you watch the video, the race secretary did him a favor. I trained this colt in 229 on Wednesday, and he was in with horses that were ready to go in 45. So I just sat outside the whole way, and you can see his ears up, and he's just grinding away. He knew he knew he was in a little softer than maybe he should have been, and he just sat outside. And then the thing, as I said in the video before about the 12 horses, I only clicked my watch after the mile. I wanted to catch him for a quarter of a mile. I went a quarter and 33 and a bit with him, which is a huge quarter in a jog cart on a half-mile track. The end of March. Very, very happy with what I saw of him. Happy with how he looked on the track. Happy with how he looked after the training mile and again this morning. So final answer, a horse I've been waiting to see polish up. I really didn't think I'd see a huge movement in him yesterday. I thought there'd still be some bumpiness and at a gear, maybe a break. But yesterday was all business. Very, very happy with what I saw him. A little disappointed in Friggin' Biggin. Not really in the horse. I think James got him jammed up and he made a break. He said he did make a break after that in the turn also. Maybe the hobbles were a little long, I don't know, but this 2 weeks in a row now, this colt has trained awesome. Wednesday, Saturday, before the drone last time, on drone day, then the Wednesday, last Saturday, this Wednesday, trained great 5 sessions in a row, and then we just lost him yesterday. Not really concerned. Doesn't seem to be any issues with the horse. I watched the video. You can see him box his gate up. What you need to do is be too wide, because when he boxes his gate up, you need to let him coast in a little bit and stretch into his hobbles. James was in a position where he was along the rail, nowhere to coast, and he was right up on top of somebody, so there was no way to really help the horse out, and he lost him. Now, I can't speak to the other break in the other turn. I have no idea, but obviously the horse, he made a break. It's not the end of the world. I can assure you it won't be the last time he runs, but he won't run next time. So, Friggin' Biggin went from our biggest mover to a bit of a breaker this week, but not the end of the world. Hard 8 looked great. Big frame. Ricky moved her early in the mile, and she got tired in the end of the mile. James has been going with her and kept her bottle up and let her sprint home. I think that's what she needs to do. She's not a 2 or 3 move filly on a half-mile track. She's just too goddamn big. She's massive. You might see here, I might pop her over to Mohawk this week because she's starting to look great. If you look at her earlier videos and then compare them to now, much more polished now. Just needs a little more stamina, a little more durability, but that will come. She's working very, very well right now, and I think just a change in the way we train her would probably help. But very happy with what I've seen from Hard 8. Obviously, this is a well-bred filly. We paid a lot of money for her. She's out of a sister to Bolt the Doer, and I have high expectations and no reason not to. She doesn't wear a pole now, doesn't wear a boot. She does wear a set of knee boots, but doesn't wear a head pole or anything like that. Looks great. Very happy with her. Holding steady, looked fantastic Thursday at Mohawk and looked good again yesterday. I had somebody say, he was okay. I really just don't see it. I'm sorry. I see a big, giant colt that was gelded not that long ago that came first over and grinded away right up into the fray, finishing up and looked good. So for the people out there that weren't happy with how Holding Steady looked, I'm sorry, I just don't agree. I think the horse looked fine. I think I saw a horse that's learning to do his work. A big horse that will never see a half-mile track in his stake career, at least this year. And, he's growing into his frame and looks good. So I was very happy with Holding Steady. Ivanka looked good yesterday, finally. She looked a little tired to me, but I had the hobbles on a little snug, and she had a rough week. She had a tough week of work. So Ivanka looked good, though. Moved her. She was in the Pacers. Moved her a couple of times. She finished up well. Really happy with what I saw with her. Just a tad, I touched on him earlier. Don't think he could look any better than he looked yesterday. James drove him perfectly. The horse trained great, looked good, and looks like a legit colt. The only shitty part is, 1, I don't own any of them, and 2, he'll be leaving our care in June to go to Ross Krogan. Let It Ride Stables owns the vast majority of him and all of Antigua Dio, and Ross Krogan is his trainer, and he asked when he bought the horses, and again this spring, that's why he bought out all of Antigua Dio, and he was ready to buy out all of Just a Tad, but the other owners did not want to sell, and I don't blame them. Nice colt, and I hope they win everything with him this year. Just a great colt with a really bright future from what I can tell. So very, very happy with Just a Tad. Candy Mac, the little ninja. Nobody sees him all the time. Nobody pays attention, but he's always knocking on the door, and he's always right there with Just a Tad. When I made a break with Curious Winner, looked great. I have every reason to believe this is gonna be a nice little colt. I really like this colt. King of the Ball. What can you say? The only slight on King of the Ball 3 weeks ago was that he was hot. Make the odd break. Not hot now. We put some headgear on him, changed the bit in his mouth, and he looked tremendous yesterday. I went with him Wednesday, and he looked freakish Wednesday. So King of the Ball is really a horse to watch. I really like this colt. We got him staked up pretty good too. I mean, obviously the sad part is I don't own any of King of the Ball, but wish I did now. Wish I wasn't selling those shares back for $100 and some when I did. Wow. Christine K looked great yesterday. First time I saw her sit quiet and then finish strong. Again, I keep coming back to the same point, is that Christine K was here after everybody else. She has a month less training than everybody else, and you can really start to see it. She's starting to slowly catch up to everybody now, and look good today. Look good yesterday. I'm really happy with her. Linnea, again, I talked about her. Biggest mover of the week by far. Beat the best horses in the stable and did it fair and square. There was no shit to jump over. There was no mistakes. Sure, Maintenance Man hadn't trained in 10 days, so I'll give him that. But Linnea, she wanted it yesterday, and she just simply took it. So she looked great. Maintenance Man looked good again yesterday, same as he always does. Finished up, as I said, a little weak finishing up, but hadn't trained in 10 days, and you can really see that transition when you don't train these babies. They just don't look as sharp. They don't look as strong. They don't look as fit. They need to do their work. And this colt, he had every reason to miss 10 days. He had cut his ankle, and we weren't taking any chances. So we were very quiet with him for 10 days, and yesterday was his first training trip back. He looked good, as he always does. Majesty Boy, I got roughed up a little bit with Screaming Hawk. He come first up, and Screaming Hawk was just a little headstrong yesterday, and left Majesty Boy where he was. I don't think he was that healthy either, because after the training trip, I always walk around the barn to see if all the horses are eating or got their heads out or they're hanging their heads, and I just make a mental note of that as I walk around before I leave. And this colt didn't eat all of his lunch and was kind of hanging his head in the corner. We took his temperature. It was okay, but I have a sneaky suspicion he's a little bit sick yesterday, because he has been awesome for the past 2 months or more. Maxwell Plum quietly trained good again yesterday. Got away third, sat third. I'm going to go with this horse one of these days. I think he still is. No, he still was. He was the fastest colt in the barn. There was one set yesterday went a little faster than they were supposed to go, and dethroned Maxwell Plum as the fastest colt. But Max, I'll go with Max one of these days, and he's a nice horse to go with. He's just a sweet little horse. He always wants to. He's an overachiever. You can see when you can feel it when you're sitting behind him. He just wants to do more than maybe even he's capable of doing, which is a great feeling. So trained good again yesterday, Maxwell Plum. Mo Better got roughed up a little bit. He was 3 wide. He was 2 wide. He was 3 wide, and he was all right. But Mo Better, you need to have him on his toes, and he's not a horse you're going to get away 6th or 5th and come first over and grind away, or he's a sprinter. A short distance sprinter, if you will, and I'll probably go with this colt as next start. I really like him, and I own a big chunk of him, so I'll go with him, and we'll see how. Oh, excuse me. We'll see how Mo Better looks. Mr. Caper, that was a fast set yesterday. Harry said he was hanging on the right line a little bit, but he got a little way back, a little far with him, and Caper wants to be up in the action most of the time, so. Maybe he was on the right line. In fact, I'm certain he was on the right line. We'll take a look at it. I think it's getting close. I'd said to it in the video on the Facebook Live. He's got contracted feet, so nice, big pie plate, spread out feet are what you want to see to absorb the concussion of the track. His feet are kind of narrowed at the back, and they're called contracted heels. And what you have to do is you have to open those heels up. And we wear a set of flip-flops on him, which is a half a shoe with a plastic or a rubber piece at the back that isn't actually nailed into the foot. It's kind of there, just like a flip-flop, just like it sounds. And they absorb a lot of the shock, and he wears those. And I think he's just due to be shod. I'd be shocked if he was on a line after we get him done Monday or Tuesday. Not an Angel. train good again. We've been just keeping it quiet with her because she's been so smart now. Sit and move, not making that noise. I don't hear it anymore. No need to spark her up. She's always doing her work well. So just going to keep a low profile with Not an Angel for another month or so. Really like this filly. Oh So Pine has been good throughout. He was close yesterday. Harry said he was on the left line a bit, finishing up. When he was gelded, he ended up a little infection in his area there, and I think it bothered him for quite a while. And if you look at one video in particular, maybe 3 videos ago, he was rough throughout the mile, and I really think that has a lot to do with it. And he's just getting over it now. And Harry said again, he was still a little rough in the straightaways yesterday. But Oh So Pine is certainly nobody we're concerned about. The horse can absolutely flat out fly. So no concerns there with Oh So Pine. Quartz Blue Chip quietly looked great yesterday, shot through at the end and finished up well. She hadn't been doing that before, and Danny had gone with her on Wednesday and said she was awesome. Very good again yesterday. So happy to see that progression from Quartz Blue Chip. Very happy to see it from her. So hopefully she comes forward. Ready for the Beach, I touched on him in the top 12. Almost one of the most improved horses of the week. Man, oh man, he looked great yesterday. For those of you who didn't focus on him or look at him closely, go watch the video again. This colt is bottled up going under the wire. Like, Brett had a real good hold of him. He was very strong yesterday. Exactly what I wanted to see. I don't know how much the castration would play now because it's only been a week or 10 days, but it definitely seemed like a different horse to me yesterday. Rock on the Roll just keeps going. I want to go with this horse. I want to go with him one of these days. I just haven't had an opportunity to go with him. Very happy with what I've seen all along. He sees everything on the track, jumps over stuff, jumps over this, jumps over that. But yesterday, he was okay. He was pretty good. The track was a little firm, and Harry said he was shortening his gait up a little bit at the wire. So he was trying. I think the way he hits the ground hard probably bothering his feet a little bit yesterday. But all in all, he does his work great week in and week out, this colt. RV LeBron made a little break, I think, yesterday. He had his knee a few weeks ago, and it's really bothering him. It looks like he's a little off left time to me, too, also. Nothing major. Probably just a few weeks behind these horses anyway. But I can't push him until we get his knee perfect. And he's getting there. He's just not quite there yet. So RV LeBron, no rush, no problems. I was happy with what I saw Wednesday, and I was okay with what I saw yesterday. He's certainly not all-worthy, but I was happy. So we'll keep moving forward with him and see if we can't get him to the races in short order, first of the summer. See You in Tuscany. I touched on See You in Tuscany. He was sick 2 weeks ago. The last video, we did not go with him because he was sick, and his white count was really low. Now, what that means is when your white blood cell count is high, you get sick and your body makes white blood cells, and they go and combat the virus. His was really low, like 2. And what that is it can be a deficiency of some sort, but what it likely is mean that he's been sick a couple of times, and his immune system is depressed. It's been used, and it's a little depressed. His white count was very low. So the vet, we got to the bottom of it. He believes he had an abscess in his lung. So the specific medication you can treat him with, they had to take a lung wash, so swab his lung and grow a culture and see what killed that virus and infection. And we had him on the proper medication. He was bouncing around the stall yesterday. Yesterday was his first day back jogging. He was off for a week, and he looked great. So good that we caught it now. That can become a real problem. You can only imagine what it would be like going into a racing season with a horse with a depressed white blood, immune system. And it would be a real problem. So happy to see him back healthy. I don't know how long that was there for. We have no way of knowing that, but he was really sick at Christmas time, so that could have been sitting in there for a long time. So good to see that come to conclusion and put some closure on it and get that colt back going, because he's starting to look really good. So See You in Tuscany. We'll be back for the next video. Probably won't train him until next Saturday. We get his feet under him. The good news is he didn't lose his appetite during all that, so he's put on a couple of pounds, which he needed. So See You in Tuscany. We'll be back soon. Screaming Hawk, we touched on Screaming Hawk before. Huge improvement mentally. The Angus Hall, that's always a big hurdle. They always have those hurdles mentally. The Angus Hall's got larger hurdles. They can make things really tough on themselves. This guy, if you notice, when we were going by the 5/8, Majesty Boy was coming. I was going to let him go, obviously. And he heard him coming, and game on. He lost his mind a little bit and opened up like 3 or 4 lengths, and then getting into the last turn, he was starting to get a little tired. We were going 1.5 miles, I think, and Harry came with Warby Ultra, and I snuggled him. You know, I put a good hold on him and made sure he let him go, and I thought he might make a break at that point, but you can't let them continue to make the mistakes. He has to be taught. So I forcibly let Harry go, and he settled for a couple of seconds. I moved him over, and he attacked again down the lane. So not only did he allow me to grab him up, but he then allowed me to, he had enough left in the tank, so to speak, to attack again down the lane. Didn't get to Warby Ultra, but as you know, she's one of our better horses. Nothing to be ashamed of, if you will. And Screaming Hawk finished up really, really, really well. Very happy with him. Got a lot more to do yet mentally, but a huge start, if you will, yesterday. Stolen Dance, easily, you know what, she could have easily been the biggest mover of the week. When you look at her past videos and then look at what she did yesterday, clearly she easily could have been. Just Linnea looked so good yesterday. She stuck out. So for me, Stolen Dance, as I said, little bit of a warm spot in my heart for her. I really like that filly, and what she did yesterday was very, very good. 2 miles and 20 in 1 week, like 25 and 23, 22. Very, very good. Very happy with her. Obviously looks like she's on her way to the races, I guess. So good for her. Springbridge Proud, as I said before, toughest horse easily in the universe. He had that big quarter crack that we had to cut out. He lost a quarter of his foot. It's not bleeding now, so that's good. It'll grow down this week. We can start training him again probably on Wednesday. He'll be back in the next drone session. Man, oh man, this is a tough little bastard. I can't say enough. I can't stress enough. Like, Kicking Dust Up jumped on his foot 10 days ago at Mohawk, 8 days ago. He was crippled for 6 days. Couldn't walk. Couldn't walk for 6 days. This horse loses a quarter of his foot, just goes out and jogs with his ears up, playing, jumping around, just like nothing happened. So one of two things: he's the toughest horse in the world, or he has no nerves in his feet, one or the other. So I think it's probably the first. Very, very tough horse. Shows a lot of grit, a lot more than I thought he had. That's a big deal. So for me, really, really interested in what happens in Springbridge Proud from here on in. He showed me a lot. Stonebridge Loyal trained well. A little skippy at the end. I think her hobbles just need to come in a hole. But Brett said she was really strong finishing up. He just had to coddle her a little bit down by the wire. But very, very strong finishing up. Starting to come around, starting to look exactly how we needed to look. So that's good. Stonebridge Simba, I told you I was going to sit behind him. I wanted to know what all the stir was. Now I know. A fast horse. We went a big, big last half in that training session. And Stonebridge Simba was great. He was trotting all he could to the wire. Taimo Houdini was just bigger and stronger, and so was White Tiger yesterday. But Stonebridge Simba, he was in the first over grind for 3/8 of a mile and trotting hard as he could almost for 3/8 of a mile. So really, really impressive. Now I see what everybody's talking about. Really, really nice colt. Sunshine Inn looked good again. James said she was fine. Bottled up right to the end, finished up strong. Never put one step in the whole way, which is good. If you noticed, she was braking at the start back in the winter. Then she just put steps in once in a while in the turns. James blasted her through 2 turns yesterday, never put a step in. So very, very happy with Sunshine Inn. Sunshine's Finest was a little steppy yesterday. Finished up well, looked good, but was a little bit steppy, and the track was a little firm yesterday. So horse's front feet might be bothering him a little bit. We're going to take a real close look at him come Monday morning. I don't think I've ever sat behind him, or not in a long time anyway, if I did. But I no need to. Brett's doing a great job. I just want to, maybe I'll go with him Wednesday because I want to get a look at exactly mechanically what's going on. I couldn't see much wrong in the video other than he was a little shuffly. So we'll take a look at him. Stud Muffin left us this week. He went to Andrew Harris in New Jersey. Pamela Schott, the owner of Stud Muffin, works about an hour from Andrew's farm, and wanted to get a good look at him. I think she wants to see whether he really needs to be gelded and really wants to hang out and spend some time with Stud Muffin, which is great. It's her right, it's her horse. And I hope, listen, I don't want to geld these horses. It's not like I'm in there saying I would love to castrate animals. I have no interest in it. But I really believe that colt would benefit from, especially looking at the horses we castrated and seeing their attitude turn in the way it has. I suggested that we needed to have it done, and she wanted to take a look at the colt, which I don't blame her. Pam's a great client, a great person, loves horses and loves horse racing. So I wish Stud Muffin and Pam all the luck in the world. Swandre the Giant looked good, made a little break when I did. I can't help but think that maybe when I made a break with Curious Winner, kind of lost his concentration and ran after that. Other than that, the Swandre the Giant's all power, speed, big, strong colt. No reason to think he's not going to be a nice horse. I think he will, hopefully. Butler did it, trained great yesterday. Did his work very, very well yesterday. Very happy with what I saw from him. Hobbles were a little tight, so they can be let out, I think, moving forward. But was in with Pacers and did very, very well. Very happy with what I saw from the Butler. Did it. Too Far Gone. Trained well yesterday. There's a filly that had 4 quarter cracks. 4. We have one other horse that has 1. She has 4. 2 on each front foot. They cleaned up now and growing down, but man, oh man. Must have had a rough winter, that filly, but trained good yesterday, looked good. You'd clearly see she was sounder and happier on the track. Finished up really well, did her work really, really well. Very happy with her. Won't be surprised at all with what I see in June, because I think she's going to be a nice big filly. Tomorrow's headlines, I talked about this with you before. He trained at Mohawk last week. He trained so good, in fact, that I talked to Sylvie and Philion had gone with him, and I went with Dancing on My Own. Talked to Sylvain about it after, and I'm like, listen, we're just going to jog him for 2 weeks. You know, there's no point training this colt. I mean, he looked like a racehorse the other day, so he's just jogging right now for the next 2 weeks. Twinsburg broke her maiden yesterday. You'd see when she came out of the turn, her ears are right on her neck. She hates horses. She likes beating them, and she's got the gait to do it. So I said this last week, she'll either make a real good race mare or just a sour horse, one or the other, but I'm hoping it's the first, because she trained good yesterday, finished up well. But it's funny, if you watch the video, just slow it down, look at her. Her ears are right on her neck, and she's looking at the other horse. She almost bit one last week training. So she's strong filly. She's got some work to do, got some polishing up to do, got some speed to make, but on the right track, I think. Timol Houdini looked absolutely fantastic yesterday. You know, for the people that bought into Timol Houdini, I was always saying, you know, this is a good-looking colt. He'll get there. And I think a couple of weeks ago, I'd even said I'd be heartbroken if he didn't turn in to be a good horse. But he was always kind of flabby and babyish, and we didn't geld him, and just goofy. And man, oh man, what a difference now. He was all business. First time Brett went with him yesterday, and I said, hey, don't let him get ahead of you. I said, he's a big lazy bugger, but he'll go. And he was flying yesterday. Looked him and White Tiger and Simba looked incredible yesterday in that training session. West 52nd, I don't know, I'm getting ahead of myself. Time Tulo looked great yesterday. I'd said in my top 12, looked fantastic, did his work well, just quietly one of those horses that always works well. And people from time to time say, who's that? Who's that one? But everybody will know who he is come this summer, I think. He's a really, really nice colt. This is the colt that's out of a sister to Canali Hanover, and this is why we bought him. So Time Tulo, very, very happy with him. Warwi Ultra, top marks again Saturday. Trained great. Really starting to understand it. Before, if you got her in a bad spot, she would run. You really had to keep her out of trouble at all points of the mile, or she would run. But now you can leave, sit, move her, sit outside, sprint with her. She's really got it all together now. She's figuring it all out, and she looks great on the track. So top marks for Warwi Ultra. West 52nd, we broke down. He is a gelding now. We castrated him the other day. I would put up with the studiness and the rankness, but I can't put up with it when it causes issues on the track and in the training miles. And I went to train him the other day, and he was really acting up. And I took the whole rest of Saturday. I took Sunday and even Monday to think about it. And finally, the vet was there Tuesday. And we decided to geld him. So he's now a gelding. Probably we'll look back at this and say, thank God we did it. But it needed to be done, and I wasn't going to wait till it was too late. So we gelded him on Tuesday. He'll be back in the next drone set. Always looks great. Always one of our best horses. Probably should have been in the top 5. That will make him number 6. Yes, looked great yesterday again. Somebody said to me he made a break yesterday. I don't know where the hell he made a break, because in the mile he didn't. finished up strong, and I watched the video again. He finished up right behind us and looked awesome. So, Yes was fantastic again yesterday. I didn't personally get to see Yes. I didn't personally get to see Yes in his mile last week. James went with him and said he was incredible. And then I didn't see him, and then he trained again good on Wednesday, and then trained great again on yesterday. So Yes looked great. Very, very happy with him. We'd picked him out earlier on in the select sale. I'm really happy to see this colt come forward. A little surprised because, as I said, those Man of Many Mission colts and fillies, they tend to blossom later. Like it said with Zeppelin B, it was almost till July when he finally stopped torturing me and looked good. And Yes looked great yesterday. So very happy with him. White Tiger. What can you say about White Tiger? I think White Tiger is one of our most talented horses in the barn. He's fast, he's durable, he's strong, he moves like a pacer, rarely makes mistakes. He's just a nice horse. So White Tiger is in the top 5, and I'd be more than happy to see him end up in the top 1 because it's one of the few horses left I own pieces of in the yearling ranks, and I shouldn't say few, I own some, but clearly the best one is this guy, and very, very happy. Every week he goes out. My only slight on him, again, he just touches his elbows, and I think we can fix that. It's a fixable issue, I believe. But really happy with him, really happy with what I've seen from him, and James does a great job with him every week. I really like how he drives him, and they get along really well, and everybody gets along well with him, but he's just a beautiful horse to watch, and White Tiger is the perfect horse to wind up the commentaries with, because you always want to end on a good note. So as I said, yesterday was our best training session that I can ever remember, and definitely with this amount of horses. Just a great day all around. I want everybody to remember, as I said it before, I'll say it again, Mother's Day open house is coming up soon. We're going to be updating our site a little bit, I think, over the next little while. Justin was wanting to put together a bus ride to the Hamiltonian, and I told him, until we get in the Hamiltonian, or it looks like we will, it'll be difficult, but he's trying to put together. So keep that in the back of your mind. I don't know if we're going to be able to get something together before the bus lines, if you will, the bus lines deadline, but it's something to think about. I think it would be great to have a lot of people from the stable at the Meadowlands if we do happen to get a horse in the Hamiltonian. We have 3 of them paid into it right now. Canale, Hanover, Cruising in Style, and obviously Lawmaker. And I would love to see, I'd love to see all 3 of them, but I would love to see definitely Lawmaker there. Would be really cool. So, and I would love to have all you there also. So keep that in the back of your mind. If he comes out swinging like I think he will this year, might be something that we want to build on an early basis and look into. So with Mother's Day, we have the Hamiltonian thing, we have all the horses training well, had a better week, if you will, racing, picked up some checks, won some races, hopefully looking to build on that. Again, we'd sold some horses, and we're going to continue to weed out the ones that aren't going to make it. We know who they are now, so we're going to continue to weed them out and keep the stable as strong as we possibly can. So thanks again. I have no idea how long this video is. It feels like it's about 9 hours, but thanks again for the people that watch these, for the people that comment. I appreciate your feedback, and for the people that come out to the barn, because always great to see our clients show up to the barn any day, especially Saturday, but any day you want. So warm weather's coming, open house is coming, and you know it's right around the corner after the open house. It's baby schoolers. So great time of year, very exciting, happy with yesterday and happy with everything going on. So thanks again, talk soon, and we'll see you next week.